Yes, Pastor Susan was where she ended. Once again, we appreciate you, ma'am, for that wonderful presentation. Where she ended is the fact that building intimacy takes time. It takes so much effort. And she was comparing to the building structure, building a house. We may come to that again later. Let me just briefly share some things about obstacles to building intimacy and the solution. Obstacles to building intimacy and the solution. Thank God we have started the question and answer. So we are not following the rota as Brayele put it, but we still maintain the time. We've already swerved into question and answer. Pastor Susan spent 35, I spent 30 minutes, and then we spend the remaining on question and answer. So many reasons, because I believe all of us want to be intimate with our spouse, at least as Christian. Every genuine person, I believe, wants to be intimate with their spouse. There are so many benefits in it. When you are one, when your spouse becomes your best friend, your gist partners, your sexual partner, the most important human being in your life, like she quoted the book of Genesis, chapter 2, verses 24 and 25. Therefore shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife. Cleaving, that's intimacy. The greatest level of intimacy among human beings is that cleaving. Is that cleaving? The Greek word used for cleaving is like when you weld two irons together. When you weld them together, that's cleaving. You can't separate them. Any effort to separate them will be so difficult, and when they are separated, it will never remain the same. Like the Yoruba will say that the scar of a healed wound can never become like part of the body, depending on the level of the scar. So you can interpret it in your own language. So what are we saying here? God himself intended from the foundation that husband and wife should be so intimate in verse 24, chapter 2 of Genesis. Then in chapter 25, it said, and the two of them were naked. That's another powerful word for intimacy. And like Pastor Susan said, it's not just, of course, sexual is primary. The two of them were naked. They were naked. They could see each other's body physically. They could embrace each. No, let's start with this physical intimacy. Many people don't enjoy each other's physical body. It's not just for sex alone. Appreciating one another's physical body, being able to undress physically before one another without any fear, without any fear of being insulted. I don't know whether I've said it in this group before. Many years ago in our church, there was a lady. This is real life that involved myself and Pastor Susan, and I can see one or two members of Living Spirit. If you still remember this story and this lady, if you remember, she was plumpy. God has really blessed her with physical appearance. She was much bigger than the husband. In fact, the husband is smaller than anybody in this group. The husband, I don't know whether he's still alive now, he's short and very small. In fact, the woman can literally carry the husband and almost put him at the back and back up. But the woman said when she got married, she was as skinny as Pastor Susan. She actually mentioned Pastor Susan. She said, I'm just like Pastor Susan's size. But when I got married, but by the time she was talking, she has put on so much weight. And she said to us that day that even now she finds it difficult to be sexually intimate with her husband. And that she even finds it difficult to undress before her husband. She has to put off the light and maybe dress in the bedroom. And she said, yet the husband never insulted her, because we asked her, why is that? And the woman said, the husband never insulted her or put her down, but that she has lost confidence in herself. So physical intimacy, and you know what? That singular and negative physical intimacy can affect the rest of the intimacy. It can affect the emotional one. It can affect the physical one. It can affect the spiritual one. It can affect the intellectual one. Because when somebody has a poor self-image, more so as a lady, is going to affect every aspect of his life. So let's bear that in mind, that physical intimacy is very, very crucial and is not limited to sex alone. So what are the obstacles to building dynamic intimacy? Wow, this teacher is very short. We're just going to... I am on 18 billion. Praise God. So we are going to run through so many points. Let's just bear those points in mind because there will be no much time to explain them. But during the question and answer, you can just flag any of them. Reasons why we have challenges to building intimacy. Number one, distractions. In passing, Pastor Zach will have mentioned some of them in passing. Distraction. Oh, today so many things distract us. Game, distract us. It could be a competitive game. It could be a virtual game. It could be a physical game. Like Pastor was saying the other time, oh, she didn't know I could play table tennis. Of course I could. But up to now, it's still my favorite sport. But I don't go out to look for what do you call it now? Table tennis. But some people, they are addicts to whatever sport they want to play. Some are committed addicts. Some are actually addicted to computer game or virtual game. They just have to be there. And you know the worst thing now is easily available on phone. So there are so many things that are distracting us. Even our telephone can distract us. Social media can so many things. The TV, chat, with all these chats, social media, all over the places. They are so cheap. Somebody said when you carry the phone in your hand, it's like the whole world is in your hand. You can travel to anywhere in the world with your phone. You can talk to anybody anywhere in the world with your phone. So those are, and you know what? That is definitely impacting on our relationship. I can tell you, all of us here, from Fadin and Adeshola to Stella to Spring of Hope to Musumala to Raphael Rotimi to Ijoma, I can tell you 100%, including Peter Odeyemi, all of us have been negatively impacted with our phone. If you think I'm wrong, decide, you and your husband or you and your wife, decide to put away the phone for the next 1 week, and you will see the blessing that will come to your marriage. You will see that you will be closer. But you know, those telephones, they give us leeway, easy opportunities to stray from our spouses. That's number one. Number two, how about this fear of insecurity? The reason many people are not intimate is because there is fear of insecurity. Why are we insecure? Possibly out of negative personality traits. You know, we can never separate ourselves from our upbringing. We can't. This popular psychologist, Sigmund Freud, you know, he divided human being into 3 levels: the id, the ego, and the superego. The id is the child in us. You know, we can't. It takes time to escape the child in us. Some of us were brought up in a way not to be intimate. You are brought up to be on our own. You are brought up to be seen and not to be heard. And then the experiences you went through in primary school, in secondary school, maybe we have negative self-concept, all kind of thing. Or maybe some people are extremely introverted. Such people, to be intimate is going to be very, very challenging. So sometimes, through our personality, through previous negative experiences of betrayal, some people have tried to be intimate with some people who are very important in their life, maybe their parents, their siblings, their former boyfriend, girlfriend, or brothers or sisters with whom they were planning to get married. They have been intimate, and the result has not been good. They have been betrayed, or even current relationship. Some husbands or wives have been trying to be intimate with their current spouses, and the result has not been good. Maybe because of so many nasty things happening when they try to be intimate, and so they just said to themselves, "Let me just remain the way I am. I love my wife, I love my husband. No ungodliness, no immorality. We are together for life, but I'm not going to be very close because anytime I want to get close, this is what normally happens." So they decide to remain the way they are. So fear of insecurity, being too busy also. Being too busy can be a big problem. This is being too busy in a positive, maybe because of job, trying to make ends meet, or sometimes trying to eke out life, necessity of life, or sometimes it could be unnecessarily setting high standard of living for themselves, or they are competing with other people outside of their marriage. They want to live high. So instead of maintaining the little job they have or one job they have, that will be enough for them to live their life averagely. They want to live high. And so they take so many jobs that is going to be having negative impact. So being too busy can be, or is always definitely a source of problem. Sometimes fear of being vulnerable. Some people are afraid. Some people naturally they are untrusting. Not everybody is trusting. Some human beings are just so trusting. They can just divulge anything about their life to their spouses, to friends. Just pray for me, these are my problems. But some people are not like that. Some people are just so, they love to crawl into their shell. It takes time and effort to bring them out. So sometimes, and then unresolved conflict can be a hindrance to building intimacy when the same problem is always occurring over and over and over. And every effort, every attempt by the wife, by the husband to solve the problem or to present the case has never received positive response. The husband will always behave in that way the wife doesn't like. The woman will always behave in the way the man doesn't like. And yet the man is not willing to change, or the woman is not willing to change. I can guarantee you that is going to limit intimacy, because the man is afraid, if I get close to this woman now, this is going to happen. And the woman is saying, if I should get close now, this is going to happen. Let me just maintain my peace. So instead of causing problem for myself, and in the course of that, they are together. They may even be intimate to some extent, but they will have been more intimate if only that husband or that wife could accept that responsibility and make a change in what the spouse have been complaining about. That will have brought them closer. Pastor Sam was telling us about our spiritual life being the bedrock of our life. 100%. You can never overemphasize that. Because if you are not right with God, according to the book of 1 John, say, if you don't love God, whom you do, if you don't love your wife, whom you see, how can you claim to love God, whom you don't see? So our love for God matters so much. But you know what? Some people take it overboard. Some people can become so spiritual that same spirituality can even be the cause of their lack of intimacy. They don't have time for their family. They want to fast. They want to pray. They want to study the Bible. I don't have time. No time for the husband. No time for the wife. I want to go for evangelism. I want to go and cast out demons somewhere. I want to go and cast out somewhere. All the work is just prayer, fasting, the word, ministry, no time. And now when there's a conflict in their home, listen to this negative one. When there is a conflict in their home, that's when some people want to even be so spiritual. They want to pray more. They want to sing more. They want to fast more. They want to be closer to God, not minding that God is not accepting it because there is an issue at home. I have a brother. I'm talking of real life. It's my Christian brother, and we're also related. It's also my in-law. Many years ago, he packed his, we were together in Lagos that time. He packed his load to travel to the interior, Orioke Ikoyi, to go and pray, Bongan or something like that. And when he got there, you know what God said to him? God said, go back home. God said, whatever prayer you pray here, I am not going to accept it. Why? Because he had a conflict with his wife. And God said, I'm not going to answer your prayer. You have to, painfully, he has to, because he knew that if he didn't go home, he'd be wasting his time. So God said to him, go back to Lagos, leave Orioke Ikoyi at Bangan or Ikire, and go back home to Lagos. And that's how serious being close to one another is before God. That if you are claiming to be close to God and you are packing away your husband and your wife and you are praying, is a waste of time when you are offending your wife or your husband. So so there must be a balance over spirituality can cause lack of intimacy. Constant conflict, constant unresolved conflict, and negative patterns of life. Number 8, negative character traits when you have negative character, the Yoruba have a say, I don't know whether it's the whole of Africa, that character is beauty. Character is beauty. We can never overemphasize the aspect of character. If only we are together now, I will have given us some assignment. Write all the character traits you don't like in your spouse. What are the character traits that you think are not allowing you to build intimate relationship with your spouse? Oh, this is right for me. I want to really be closer to my wife than I am now. So what are the things in my wife that are not allowing me to do that? And she is writing the same thing. So that after the program, we table it and we talk. I don't like this thing. I don't like this. I would have been closer to you. In fact, I'm having pain because I'm not so close to you, right? But I will have been closer. I really want to, but this and this and this are not helping me to be so close to you. That will have been the best part of this service today. Because all these things you are saying, they are very good, but they are general. Apart from what Pastor Yeli and Pastor Susan shared at that time, every other thing we are sharing now, they are just generalistic, which may apply to some people and may not apply. But what will really apply is for us. Write down what you don't like. What are the causes of being distant from your spouse? Why are you not as close to your husband or your wife as you will have loved to? What do you want? What are you expecting from your spouse? If you can do that assignment after this program, that will be very great. Then putting others first before your spouse. When you put other people first, including putting your anything really, like the first one we mentioned, like the case of game, like the case of distraction. So when you put anything or other people, many years ago, at the beginning, at the beginning of Yonggi of blessed memory, David Yonggi, the person with the largest church in the whole world, based in South Korea. At the beginning of his ministry, he was praying one day. Was it Yonggi? Yes, it was Yonggi. And in a way, God was correcting him because he was saying in his life, the first thing in his life is God. And the second thing in his life is his ministry. And the church, and the third thing is his wife. And God said, no. He said, you are correct with the first one. I, the Almighty God, is number one in your life. He said, but your ministry or your church is not number two. It's your wife. Your wife is number two. He found it so difficult to accept, but he knew it was God telling him to correcting his doctrine. Right? So the first person in our life is God. The second person in our life is our spouse. And then the ministry and all the children. But sometimes when we don't put things in proper order, it's going to affect our intimacy. And lastly, Pastor Susan has already said that so much, that is when we limit intimacy or reducing it to sex. You know, intimacy is not just about sex, so I won't talk much about that. What are the suggested solutions? I'm going to give us about 6 suggestions. Number 1, bear in mind that building intimacy takes time. That's the first thing you have to bear. It's a job, it's a work. Building intimacy is a work. You have to bear in mind that it takes time. Like building or restoring intimacy requires work and attention. And like I said the other time, like where Pastor Susan finished our discussion, that's when you compare it to building a house. Building intimacy is like building a house. Building just don't happen. We live in number 1 Asford Green in Wickford. That house was built by somebody. He did not miraculously land in this place. Even the tent of tabernacle, God's own house in the wilderness, it didn't appear miraculously. God had to take Moses to the mountain and show him everything, the dimension. How come God didn't drop the house from heaven? The house, the replica of the house is in heaven. God had to show Moses the kind of thing he wanted him to build. But God, why didn't you just drop the house? It didn't happen that way. Let me tell you something. Successful house will not drop down from heaven. It won't. It will not even come by prayer alone. Of course, God will have to help you do away with some things and build some virtues in your life. But they will have to come with effort. But you know that building processes too. Sometimes the structures can be wrong. What do you do? You pull it down. When you don't like a particular, when in the building process, you discover, I don't like this place, I don't like this place. You pull it down and you rebuild it. You know what? Even when the foundation is wrong, the foundation can also be removed and be destroyed and a new one constructed. Is there anybody here who deals with building construction? Any architect here, any builder here, any civil engineer here on this platform? Anyone to talk about building for 1 minute? Anyone? Can we rebuild foundation? Okay, whether you're a builder or not, let me hear from somebody, because I'm not into building houses. Is it possible to rebuild foundation? Anybody with experience? Please, it's a question I want somebody to respond to.
No, sir. It's not possible, sir.
Really?
Yes.
So let's say I'm building a house and the foundation is wrong. What do I do?
You have to bring down the old house and redo the foundation.
But you said it's not possible, but you are saying it's possible.
I think they have a procedure here in the UK. At times you have some houses which start to subsidence, starts to sink, and there's somewhere where they can inject things. I can't remember the actual name into the foundation to repair it without bringing the house down. Okay, so at least foundation is repairable.
Yeah. Pastor, but I think Brian, you are right, it's repairable. But that when they repair it, they give it a time span that it will only last for this period. The repair. So foundation is not really repairable. It can be, the date can be moved forward a bit or expand. The lifespan can be expanded, but it's not really repairable, sir. Okay. So at least that's what the Bible asks us in the book of Psalm 11, verse 2. If the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? The righteous can never be at a loss. We can always, there's nothing we cannot rebuild. There's nothing as Christian. So if the foundation of your home is not right, rebuild it. Rebuild it. Go to the foundation. You could have been married for 10, 15 years. As Christian, you can always go back to where you started and put some things in place and put some things in order. So let's bear that in mind, that by the grace of God, we can restore our intimacy. Let's bear in mind that it takes time. It may not happen tomorrow. It may not happen next week. We may begin to see some good results here and there. But after some time, with persistence and consistency, we will begin to see permanent changes. Let's bear that in mind. Number 2, identify which aspect of the intimacy that is lacking and where you need to work on. Where you need to work on. You need to work on some area. Pastor mentioned about 4 or 5 aspects of intimacy. Can you remind us again?
Physical, emotional, experiential, and intelligent.
Physical, emotional, experiential, intelligence. And I'm also adding practical here. Practical relationship. So you have to identify, because some people, the whole of their home, nothing is working. But some people, they are okay physically, they are very close, they are friends, they touch each other, their sexual life is fantastic, even though there's room for improvement. Some, their emotional intimacy is fantastic, they are very friendly, they can easily sit down and talk and chat. And you know what? Some people are very good emotionally when they talk, and yet they are not good when it comes to sexual relationship. You know, we human beings are so complex. You'll be thinking that when people are good emotionally, or some people are very fantastic when it comes to spirituality. They are so intimate, they fast together, they pray together, they study together. You will think that every other thing will be okay. No. You know why? Because everything takes skills. Being very, very spiritual, being loving, being caring, being prayerful, being full of the Holy Ghost doesn't mean that you are going to have good physical intimacy. In fact, if you are not careful, like I've said, being so spiritual without much knowledge can even hinder your intimacy. Did you hear that? Brother, are you shaking your head or you are agreeing that sometimes when you are so spiritual and you don't have knowledge, it can hinder your being very close? Do we agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Have you not seen ladies who cannot undress? Sorry? Praise God.
Hi, Jay.
Anyway, so identify the area where you need to build intimacy. Yeah, Oyebola? Okay, you say, okay, you are saying yes, thank you. Communicate. This is the most important part in all that we have been discussing. The greatest solution and the greatest lack of solution hinges on communication. Effective, adequate, practical communication will bring so many solutions, and lack of it will hinder solution. This is my own submission as Raphael Olurotimi. Most problems in relationship, not all, maybe 95% of problems in relationship could be solved if only there is effective and practical communication. I'm going to talk a bit more. Let me end up in communication. Let me just do communication. I will come back to it if I have chance. Now, we're talking of solution to challenges to intimacy. Number 3, I've mentioned, bear in mind, it takes time. Number 2, identify the aspect of your intimacy where you want to focus on. Maybe it is 1 or 2 or even the whole lot. Then number 3, ask your spouse. Ask your spouse, which is part of communication. Let your husband or your wife share with you what he feels about you. Let your husband, let your wife let him feel free to talk to you about what he feels about your behavior and attitude that are hindering your intimacy, without being judgmental, without being negatively critical, without insulting. We're coming to that. But please, let there be time. Release one another to talk to one another. And then number 4, learn to create balance in life. You know, one of the things I mentioned is because there is no balance. Too much time for work, too much time for the church, for the ministry, at the expense of building intimacy. It's not good. What do? Create balance. Create balance. Learn to create balance. Some job may have to go, or you may have to look for another kind of a job that will allow you to even work from home if possible, so that you don't need to travel for a long distance every day. And then if you are doing 2-3 jobs, you may have to drop one. Of course, you are going to lose some money, but you have to weigh you have to weigh which one is more important, having more money or building intimacy with your spouse. And then number 4, number 5, listen to your spouse. Okay, that's the same thing as asking your spouse questions. Then when your spouse is talking, listen to this. Be ready to make changes. Stop unnecessary self-defense. Stop defending yourself. When your spouse is talking to you and she's alleging or he's alleging this and this, don't excuse yourself. You are not your spouse. That is how your spouse feels. That's what he or she feels about you. Make changes. I have 3 more minutes. Now, communicate. Communication. Most relationship challenges can be resolved if there is effective communication between the couple or the people concerned. It is the foundation of intimacy. Communication is the foundation of intimacy in marital relationship. It will allow the individual to connect emotionally and to understand each other better and to maintain supportive bond. What are the characteristics of this kind of communication? It must be open. You know, if you are going to talk in a way that will bring solution, we are not going to be hiding things. We are not going to be afraid to bear our mind. If you want the real communication that will solve problem, brothers and sisters, you must be ready to speak the truth and also to hear the truth without defense. Open. Communication must be open. It must be frank. It must be sincere. Where individuals can freely express themselves. They are able to express their concerns. Very important. They must be ready to express their concerns and dissatisfaction. They are ready to express their feeling and the impact the spouse's behavior is having on them. What am I saying? Yele is ready to tell Kemi, yeah, Kemi, these are your behaviors that are impacting me negatively. I really, really love to be very close. Of course, thank God I'm close to you, but I will have loved to be closer. But these are the problem. And you say it. You say it. How do you say it? Avoid, when you say it, you must avoid the following. Avoid insult. You must avoid insult. You must avoid demeaning word, the word that will bring people down. You must avoid accusation. You must avoid accusation. You're not talking, as you are talking, you are looking for solution. You are not accusing. You avoid bullying. You avoid bullying and threatening behavior and word. You avoid angry word. You avoid anger. You avoid intimidating words and action. You make sure that even though you are expressing your mind and your concern, you still remember this person you are talking to is my husband, is my wife that I must love and respect and submit to. I am not insulting, I'm not pulling him or her down. I'm just expressing myself with the view of looking for changes. Not to condemn, not to insult, not to crush, never, never, nothing like that. And that person you are talking to, the husband or the wife, must also accept. Because if there is no accept, number one, if there is no freedom and liberty to talk, and there is no acceptance, I am wrong. And there is no agreement, we need to work on this. There will never be a solution. Let me round up with a story. I've told you many times. It was one doctor who told me. The doctor told me, I think during summer, many years ago, but I've not forgotten. He himself is a doctor up to now. Even though not practice. He said many years ago as a doctor, somebody had a cancerous wound. Maybe it was even, I can't remember whether he was involved in the case. And this person was coming to the hospital or the clinic, and the doctor will just take care of it in Nigeria. They will just dress the wound, put plaster, put bandage, but the thing, there was no solution. One day, the doctor got to know about it. I think it was the doctor who was involved that told us this story. So he just came, got his scissors and everything. He began to tear up all the layers. He began to cut off all the layers on the wound that will not allow even the medication to get to the wound. And come and see this patient. He was screaming and shouting and insulting the doctor. You are wicked. You are callous. You are not even careful. You are not even caring how I'm feeling. Oh, the nurse has been taking care of me for all this time. I have never felt wound like this. It has never bled like this. But the doctor turned deaf ear. He did what he ought to do, and that was the beginning of the healing process of that patient. The same thing goes for marriage. If you're really, really looking for solution, we must be doctors. Coming with our scalpel, coming with love, with respect, with humility, sharing exactly how you feel with your spouse, and then your spouse accepting, and the two of you agreeing how to work these things out. That for me is when solution will come, and then we become more intimate. May the Lord bless you. Thank you.